Hey guys, Marsling here bringing you another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video, and so today we're going to be doing the team building guide for the Dragon Ball Fusions EZA. That will be going live, I think it's like 11 hours if you're watching this video as soon as it goes up. I always like to get these put out the night before. At least it's the night for me, right, because these come out at like 6:30 AM in the UK for me. So I will be streaming it when it comes out, so if you guys want to catch that live, make sure you're subscribed, hit that bell so you know to be notified, or you can join the Discord because I always post in there. That link is in the description. So I will be doing this live on stream, so maybe I'll see you guys there. So it's a typical 30-stage EZA, but obviously it's one where there are multiple opponents. So the opponents change. You got 7 stages of the Pandel, then you got 8 stages of Bullpan. Then we have 7 stages of Barlot, and then 8 stages of Caroli. And of course, if you want to go past stage 30 and get a bunch of Hercule statues, it will be Caroli all the way through. So you get the damage reduction. There's always like a type of unit that isn't the best to use, and in this case it is STR. So there are a couple of STR units that I might mention for various reasons, but generally you don't want to bring STR units unless you're bringing them to be defensive units, because they get an 80% damage reduction. So even very strong STR units will not be doing a huge amount of damage in this EZA. So the special category is crossover. Now crossover is quite a big category now, as you can see. Because of the fact that it's not just Dragon Ball Heroes, right? It's everything else as well. So there are quite a few good units here that aren't Dragon Ball Heroes. And there's various different options for leaders. One thing to note, of course, we are getting this free-to-play Pinich and Tekka with the same update, like the same time that the EZA comes out, basically. We are getting the awakenings for these free-to-play units. They don't become crossover leaders until they get their EZA, which is not going live at the same time. So bear in mind, you won't be able to use them. So you're a bit more limited in terms of crossover leaders, especially if you haven't summoned on Heroes. Like ever, especially not just, you know, the most recent one, but there are other options as well. So as always with my team building guides, I go over my top picks and some honorable mentions, and if there's any units you think I missed out or should have talked about more, let me know down below in the comment section. So if you find this guide helpful at all, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and let us get started. So the best straight up crossover category leader is Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta. He was one of the featured units from the Heroes celebration before the previous one that we got at the end of last year. So obviously if you didn't summon during that celebration, he would be a lot harder to get, because the unfeatured units are always super hard to get on the Heroes banners because they are guaranteed featured, and then the unfeatured pool is so big. But if you do have him, obviously he's the best straight up crossover leader, because it's just everyone in crossover 170 across the board in 3 key. So he raises defense on super, he can counter super attacks. He's also a crossover allies support unit, so even if you are running a different leader, like if you're running like a pure Heroes team or something, he's worth bringing on that team regardless. But of course his leader skill will allow you to bring anyone in the category, which obviously can be very beneficial. So next up we have the Xenopan, who is from the most recent Heroes celebration. So if that was your first ever Heroes celebration that you summoned on, you might have pulled Xenopan. She has a 150% across the board and 3 key leader skill, which is perfectly fine for an EZA. Obviously a bunch of people will put up their Super Saiyan 4 Vegetos as friends, so you can, you know, the combo of a 150 and a 170 leader is more than enough to get through the 30 stages of an EZA. So she's very good. She's also a Dragon Ball Heroes support unit for 3 key and 40% to stats. So while she'll only be supporting the Dragon Ball Heroes units, that's obviously a very, very good support. She also has a built-in chance to crit, built-in chance to dodge. She gets more defense with each attack that she dodges, and then she gets a bit of extra attack and defense with each Heroes ally on the team. So better with more Heroes units around her, but still very good even without, especially because of the built-in dodge. So she's definitely very useful. She's probably another unit that you would include on the team even if you're not using her as a leader, especially if you are using a bunch of Dragon Ball Heroes characters. So next up we have Meki Kabura. Again, he's from the most recent banner. If you didn't get Xenopan, he has a crossover leader skill of 130. He's a really, really crazy unit. Like, I've showcased him on a 170 lead team before. and he is a nuking style unit, and without having to use one of those items that gives you like the extra attack per orb and stuff to, you know, inflate the numbers, I've seen him get up to like a 10 million attack stat with enough orbs picked up. The only downside is he doesn't have the best link partners available. His best link partners are the various Demigro units, who all kind of suck until they get like an EZA, but he's very, very good to bring on the team. He's just an all-out powerful unit. He's a nuker, so you can get the disadvantage sometimes where you can't get a lot of orbs for him, and then obviously he's not as impressive, but he's definitely very powerful. He also recovers HP with rainbow orbs, which is good for EZAs because you can't use items, so he's a very solid unit and worth including on the team as well. Then, if you're really struggling for a leader, we have this guy, the good old Super Saiyan 2 Trunks, finally awakened, and he became a crossover leader for 3 key and 120. So even though he's an STR unit, which means he won't be doing a lot of damage throughout the event, he's a unit that you might actually have access to even if you've never summoned on the Heroes banners before. So he's a 120 leader. He's also a support unit for crossover. Well, he supports all allies and gives crossover even more of a buff. So he's a really good support unit. Just be aware that obviously he's not going to be doing a lot of damage because he is an STR type. And then as a last resort, we've got the free-to-play Demon Goddess Poutine. Hopefully, even if you didn't summon at all during the Heroes celebration, you did farm up her. There's the free-to-play unit. She has a 50% leader skill, which is obviously nothing too crazy. But if she's the best you've got, then obviously that's what you're going to have to use. She's a support unit for crossover as well, so she can be very, very good on the team, even if you're not using her as a leader. So, a unit that I wanted to mention straight away to include on the team, if you are running a crossover leader, is Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta. Obviously, once you get past the specific stage, he won't be doing any damage because he's an STR type, but he's a perfect unit for EZAs because of this 10 turns thing. Like, you're never going to go 10 turns in an EZA, so he's just going to be an absolute defensive wall. You could just put him in the slot where there are the most attacks, and then he's just going to take no damage. And there's a lot of really strong heroes Super Saiyan 3s that you can bring, so he has a lot of really good potential link partners. So he's a very, very good option, but only if you're running a crossover leader, because obviously he is not a heroes unit. So if you want to run a heroes team though, God Trunks, if you did summon during the most recent Hero Celebration, the way I will probably do this when I do it on stream is I will just run Trunks as my leader and run a full Heroes team. And honestly, it will not be difficult at all, right? Because on a full Heroes team, Trunks is ridiculously powerful. He has that built-in crit chance, and mine is built for full additional. So during the first few phases, like, he's probably going to one-shot the enemy. And then even as you start to get into the higher phases, if he double supers, he probably just is going to take care of the enemy all by himself. So this is one of these events like made for him. He's going to be really, really good in this event if you did pull him. So even if you are running a crossover leader so you can run other units as well, this guy's going to be really good to bring on the team. Obviously, he loses a little bit of his overall buff if you're not running a full Dragon Ball Heroes team. But say you're running Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta as the leader, you could bring one non-Heroes unit like the Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta we just talked about, for example, and then run the rest of the team as Heroes, and then Trunks is still going to be really, really powerful. So he's definitely a very solid pick, and if you just want to run a full Heroes team with him as the leader, I think that's a really strong way to go as well. So next up we have the EZAs. All 5 of the EZAs are here. The 3 Super Saiyan 3s, Baby Janemba, Kid Buu, and Toa. Did I say 5 EZAs? It's 6. But all of the EZAs from the recent Hero Celebration are here. They are all really, really good. I would honestly say, like, if you have all of them, you probably want to bring, like, God Trunks and then just bring all the EZA Saiyans. Like, Gotenks is ridiculously good, and now that he's under a 200% lead on JP, a lot of people are talking about him being, like, the best EZA TUR. Now, obviously, we don't have that on Global, but on this crossover team, he's going to be ridiculously powerful. He gets a chance to launch additional supers for the first few turns, so him double or triple supering is going to be a very common occurrence, and he is very, very powerful. Gohan is a very powerful unit. He does rely on orbs, which can make him a little bit inconsistent. You want to get 7 orbs so you can get his damage reduction, but obviously remember the last bunch of stages where it becomes that, you know, it's most difficult are against Karoli, so Gohan is going to have type advantage, so he's going to be very, very good here. And then, of course, Trunks is a strong defensive unit. He only has a high chance to guard, so in those final stages against Karoli, if he gets super attacked like in slot 1 and doesn't guard, then obviously he is going to take a bit of damage. But he stacks defense quite a few times on super. He also builds up his stats with each attack performed and received, so he's going to be very, very strong once he is fully built up. So in an EZA, you're not necessarily going to get him fully built up, but as long as his guard kicks in, he's like a super strong defensive unit, so he's really good. Baby Janemba is just a very solid defensive unit. He heals at the start of turn as well, which is always nice for EZAs. Obviously, his link set is a bit different compared to all the Saiyan units we've been talking about, but he's still very strong on the team as well. Kid Buu, well, it's Kid Buu Barbody absorbed, but he's a really good support unit. He raises defense on super attack. He's just a solid, like, slot 3 floating unit for the team, because he gives all allies a 50% defensive buff when your HP is 81% or more, and then if it drops below that, not only does he get more defense, but then he gives all allies 3 ki and 50% attack, so that's really good. And then he heals at the end of the turn as well. And then Toa, not only can she be a decent partner for Mechikabura, not the best, but she works pretty well with him. She's an extreme class allies support unit, so she's only going to be super beneficial if you're running a more extreme based team, or if you're using her on rotation with Mechikabura. Like I said, she gives support, but you also get the 100% HP recovery once only if you drop below 30%. So again, in an EZA you can't heal, so something like this can be really, really useful. She also gives an extra buff. In fact, the Mechikabura 10 million attack stat turn I was talking about was on a turn where she had got her buff to go off. So she's giving like 100% attack and defense, which is pretty wild. So next up we have the Super Saiyan 3 duo that awakened, the Gotenks and the Gohanks. They're designed to be run together, but they don't have to be. As long as there's another Heroes ally in the same turn, they get a guaranteed additional super. They stack their attack and defense. They're just very, very good. You can easily switch out and alternate. That's the thing with these multi-enemy EZAs. You can switch out your team members as the enemy changes, right? So, like, for example, when you get to Karoli, you might want to take out the Gotenks because he's AGL. And you can like sub in and out units as the enemy changes. But these two together are very, very powerful and definitely worth using. There's a lot of I just want to say there's a lot of Super Saiyan 3s that we've talked about, right? We got these two, we got the 3 EZA ones. So on crossover, we do actually have Super Saiyan 3 Bardock. So if you're missing like a crossover leader, but you have a lot of the Super Saiyan 3s from Heroes and crossover, you could run Bardock as the leader. Now, he's pretty outdated without an EZA, but you could basically run a full Super Saiyan 3 team and then just run like a Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta or some other crossover leader so that Bardock is still getting that leader skill because he's not a Heroes unit. But that would be a very strong rotation as well because there are so many Super Saiyan 3s. So then we have Supreme Kai of Time. She's a good support unit. She massively raises defense on super. She is probably going to get her EZA with this year's Heroes Celebration. So after one super, her defense isn't the craziest, but she's a very solid support unit. Shares a couple of links with God Trunks, so she's very good to have on the team if you're running him. So she's just a very solid support unit overall. Then we have the Xeno, Goku, and Vegeta. So even if you're not running a lot of Goku or Vegeta family units, these guys are really, really good because they infinitely stack both their attack and defense. They are greatly raises. They're just really solid units on their own. And then as long as you have a Vegeta family or Goku family unit on the team, they get an extra buff. And then, yeah, they're providing support as well. So when you consider, like, the Super Saiyan 3 EZAs that we talked about, like, we've got the Gohan, we've got the Trunks, there's a lot of units that can benefit from their support if you want to run them on the team. So they are very, very good options as well. Then we have this GT Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta. Did I open the physical one? I didn't. The physical one is also really good as well. I prefer the tech one, but these guys got their awakenings with this whole celebration stuff that went on. They're on crossover, not Heroes, of course, so you have to make sure you're running a crossover leader if you want to run them. but they are very good. And then the last honourable mention I put here was the Dark Mask King. His best link partner for a hero's setup is really the Black Mask Saiyan, but he's not really that good. And of course he's AGL and the last enemy is Tech. But as long as you have any other hero's ally on the same turn, he gets a defense raise after he takes the first hit, and he guards. So he's very good at tanking, and he heals 10% of the damage that he deals as HP. So even though he doesn't do a huge amount of damage, when you consider that, again, the last enemy is Tech, this guy could be very good to bring on the team just to be a bit of a defensive unit that can get you a nice little bit of free healing. It's not going to be a crazy amount, but it's definitely going to be very, very good. So if we go back to the crossover team, I guess there's this free-to-play guy from last year as well, if you didn't farm up Poutine as the leader. But AGL, Goku, and Arale are on crossover. They're a little bit outdated now, but they can still put out some decent power. AGL Bardock is on there, although he is obviously a unit more designed for longer form events. Of course, the units themselves that are getting the EZA are obviously on here, but they're not, until you get at least, 3/4 or so of the way through the EZA, they're not going to be powered up enough to really be worthwhile using. Mars Saiyan is a good choice, especially with your more extreme based team, but remember, he's not a heroes unit, he's just a crossover. Tech 16, you all know how much I hate Tech 16 and his high chance to guard after all of those failed attempts of Android's ESBR, but he can be very good if you are getting that guard off as a defensive unit, so he can be a solid option as well. I forgot to talk about Darkness Toa. She's another good support unit that also has that built-in heal mechanic, so she can be very good. To be fair, Int Demigra, whilst he's not crazy good, because the last enemy is Tech, you could actually get away with running him to support Mechikabura, so that would actually be a pretty solid option. None of the STR units I talked about, like I said, because they're not really going to do a lot of damage. I guess you could use Xeno Goku as another really good defensive unit, but he's not going to be doing a lot of damage, unfortunately. That's why I didn't talk about Pycon, because obviously he was one of the units that EZA'd, but he's really only designed to be a damage dealer, and he's not going to be doing a lot of damage. The Awakening for this guy comes out at the same time as the EZA, but he doesn't get his EZA yet, so didn't talk about him. There's that physical Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta. He can be a pretty solid option. And then we've got this Demigra. He's the other really good link partner for Mechikabura. He's just not that great in and of himself. And yeah, this physical Mirror, he can be okay. He's a fairly solid unit. He's alright after he transforms as well, but he's not got the best link partners on this team. But if you do want to go the more extreme based route for your team, he can be a pretty solid unit as well. So, and hey, why not? You could bring Super Saiyan 3 Broly. Probably not. Also, Tech Toa is good if you have a full extreme team. Super Saiyan 4 Broly as well, actually, if you are running Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta, having them on rotation together, he actually puts out a ton of damage, so he is very, very good as well. So yeah, crossover has a lot of options. Didn't talk about Super Saiyan 4 Bardock. He's a crossover leader, but obviously he's STR, so he's not going to do a lot of damage, but he is a substitute leader if you need him. So crossover does have quite a lot of options. So that's it for my top picks and honorable mentions. Like I say, you guys let me know down below if there's any units that you think I missed out or any units that I should have talked more about, and let me know what your team build is going to look like for this EZA. So hopefully I will see you guys at the stream. It shouldn't be too difficult, so it should be a nice, fun, straightforward EZA, and we'll see how it goes. So let me know what you guys think down below in the comments section. So that's going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below for the Discord and the merch store, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.